So whether you buy or rent your home, expect no matter what that your housing cost is going to go up. If you're a renter, it's going to go up big time. If you are looking to buy a house, your purchase will be higher. If you're a current homeowner, your housing cost is going to go up a little bit, but not as much as the other two. And what do we mean by that? Well, first of all, mortgage rates are high and going up. October 5th, beginning of the month, mortgage rates set another record. People are talking about 8% is going to be normal. 8% will not be normal. 8% will be low. Within the next year or two, rates will be around 10%. Of more troubling nature is what's happening with the rental market. America's biggest landlords can't find a house to buy either. This is Wall Street Journal. Well, what does that mean? If you are a renter, your future monthly rent payments, your lease is going to increase. And the reason why is because, first of all, when it says biggest landlords, what that means is corporate landlords. And they're trying to buy houses too, to rent. But buried within this article is some more troubling information. Let's take a look. According to interviews with some of these large institutional investors, what they're saying is the economy is still healthy, so people are fully employed, wage growth is solid, but the barriers to homeownership are staggering, meaning that these landlords know that you can't afford to buy a house. The interest rate's too high, the price of houses has skyrocketed, and it's hard to get approved for a mortgage anymore. So they know that there are barriers to homeownership. Where does that leave you? Leaves you having to rent. And there are more people wanting to rent than there are homes. In any, most areas of the country, good homes that are for rent get snapped up quickly. Renting single-family houses has become much cheaper than financing purchases where the big landlords operate. What that means is that the rental payment that you pay for a house is less than what it would cost for a mortgage on the same house. And the math works in favor. However, landlords know this. And what they're saying is, the reality is rental rate increases, as aggressive as have they been, meaning that the landlords know they've been very aggressive with raising rents, and you've seen that if you're a tenant. But they have not kept up with home price appreciation. The bottom line, they estimate that rents, which average $2,000 a month, could rise more than 30% before they reach the cost of buying comparable houses. So landlords know this, especially the big institutional property owners. Look, mom and pop landlords usually actually are not as aggressive in raising rents because they want to keep tenants, they want to keep a long-term relationship. A lot of times these big institutional investors come in, they buy up the property and jack up the rent. Again, not saying it's good or bad, it's just that's what they do. And the math definitely works in their favor. So if you are a tenant, doesn't matter where you live, expect that eventually this will filter down to your property, or if you have to move, it'll filter down to another one, because there's still a big disconnect between the rental amounts and the cost of the house. Now, here's the other thing. Many landlords, commercial property owners, they're on variable rate mortgages. Their mortgages are reset every 3 to 5 years. So they might have to raise up the rents to cover higher interest rates on their commercial lending facilities. And they know that the economy is strong, people are fully employed. Even at the high rents, there's not a lot of vacant apartments. Even after the rents have been jacked up, people complain, I can't afford it, they have to move out. Boom, somebody's ready to move in. Landlords know this. So it's not that they have to cut rents dramatically to get people to move in. There are some places where rents are easing a little bit, but there's still more people looking for a roof over their head than there are roofs to go over people's heads. So I know you have an opinion about this. Let us know in the comments. Do you think that the rents are too high? Are they going to go up more? Is there going to be a crash? What is your opinion about this? Now, back to interest rates. Bond yields went higher. What does that mean? Well, what do you care about bond yields? When companies can get a high yield on their money by buying bonds, they're less likely to accept a low yield on an apartment complex or a house. For example, Right now, you can get bond yields 5.5%, 6%. So if you're a major corporation, you have a lot of money, you can just put money into a bond or a CD or some other instrument that's guaranteed by the government. It's basically good as cash, and get 5 or 6% on your money. If you can do that, why put money into an apartment complex where you have to worry about leases, tenants, lawsuits, fixing toilets, taking out the trash, all these other things, and make 5 or 6%, even 7%? It's not worth the hassle. In order to make it worthwhile for an apartment or a house to rent, you have to have your return on your money like 8 or 9 or 10%. And that's going to raise up rates. The other thing it's going to do is it's going to keep interest rates on purchases higher. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The fact that the housing market is strong means that the Federal Reserve can't lower their discount rate. And if they can't lower their discount rate, that means that interest rates on mortgages will have to stay high and maybe get higher. Probably will, because mortgage companies have to charge a higher premium now on mortgages. So overall, new home purchases will have a higher interest rate. Right now, it's roughly 8%. There's some people already paying 8.5%, especially if you don't have 20% down. By the end of next year, it'll be 9 easily, probably close to 10. It'll probably settle in around 10%, between 9.5 and 10.5, once we get all the dust settled. Housing prices aren't going to go down. They're going to stay high. There's still people that are going to buy them. Rental prices will probably stagnate a little bit, and then the beginning of next year, they'll go up again. So whatever your rent is on your apartment you're renting or your house that you're renting, expect to pay 15, maybe 18% more for the same house when you renew your lease in 2024 or 25. So if you're paying $2,000 a month, you'll probably be paying, $2,300 a month, a few hundred more. And the landlords know if you say, I don't want it too much, I'm walking away, no problem. Somebody else will move right back in behind you and pay that rent. And you'll probably be hard pressed to find another place. It's going to be much better. By the time you pay for moving and security deposits and everything else, you're not going to be too far ahead of the game. I know you have an opinion about this. Let us know in the comments what you think.